We all know Christmas as a mass celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ. But what does it mean to an African? Well, let's talk about this day from the perspective of traditional leadership and royalty. I'm joined by Prince Tumeleng of the Batlaong Royal House in Mahikeng. Prince, a very good afternoon. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Merry Christmas. How's your Christmas today?
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to the viewers, and Merry Christmas to our Christian viewers at home. I've had a very lovely afternoon. It's raining here in Mahikeng. Beautiful weather. There's nothing to complain about, really.
Well, I suppose one of the first questions that we'd like to ask is how Christmas is celebrated in relation to being traditionalists or being Africans.
And, you know, where we need to start is to define two things. What is tradition and what is culture? And now, tradition was a set of customs and beliefs that are predispositioned from one generation to another. Hence, the institution that I belong to and that many of my ilk belong to is called traditional leadership. And culture, on the other hand, is something that is not as rigid as tradition is, but it's rather static. And now Christmas has become part of our culture, and while on the other hand it is not. Now you need to look back pre-colonial colonial times as to how do we relate as Africans, because when you look at it from a distance, I mean it would not necessarily make sense to any other African. We don't have reindeers here. We don't necessarily indigenously have Caucasians with long beards and snow. I would even bring it closer to home. To myself as a Mutlu, I do not remember a time where it has snowed. It's 27 years of my life, this side. Now, you see, you can take those questions and you put them forward, but we need to go to the deeper issue. And what what Christmas is, how we got introduced to it as Africans, and how it got to form part of, I'd say modern popular African culture. And we need to first deal with that. And the issue number one would be Christmas, as it is a mass celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ, as I believe and many of us believe. It is a celebration for Christians, about Christians, those that subscribe to the teachings of Jesus Christ and those that believe in him as his Savior. So it would clearly mean those that believe or subscribe to African traditional religion, those that are Hindu, those that are Muslims, do not subscribe to Christmas. Now, from our space, it then gets a bit complex and tricky on the basis that we were victims of colonialism. And through colonialism came missionaries. Through missionaries came churches and indoctrination of our people. And us losing who we are, or being forced rather, because we lost who we are through a barrel of a gun and land dispossession. And you know, when you lose who you are through a barrel of a gun, you're directly told you must drop everything that you believe in. In actual fact, you must, if you're a traditional person and you follow your traditions, and just like I define tradition, that it's a set of customs and beliefs that are predisposition from one person to another. And if they're predisposition, it means I am what my father is, and the teachings that I get from my father make me who I am. And
Prince, if you will allow me to pose a question when we talk about tradition. Is tradition static? Number one. Number two, do we assume in coming up with our traditions or believing in our traditions that we have the sole knowledge, if you will, that other traditions from other cultures not necessarily European or Western, but even from the next village or the next province are not correct, and that it is just our cultures that are. Prince, are you there? Can you hear me? We seem to have lost Prince Itumeleng, but as we do continue, we can take